My name is Scott Gilbertson. I went undercover at Ridglan Farms to expose animal cruelty. She told me that there's going to be a lot of blood. She told me just hold them as tight as you can. They're going to be, trying to thrash around. I didn't exactly know what the procedure was, but she took the scissors and she cut the inflamed part, the cherry eye. She just took a scissors straight to it and snipped it, and blood just started going everywhere.
Most people will never see what really happens behind closed doors in a place like Ridglan Farms, but my guest today did. Scotty Gilbertson went undercover inside this beagle breeding facility, and he saw the unimaginable cruelty. And this is something he will never forget. I will never forget. And now he is exposing it all. Plus, we're going to talk about the fact that I've been talking about this for a month or two now. I was on the ground. I cannot believe the breaking news that just came up today before my interview with Scotty that we're going to talk about, that the Beagles are being released. This is the Food Heals Podcast.
Warning, side effects of this podcast may include increased health and vitality, thoughts of living longer, developing a more positive outlook on life, feelings of joy, cravings for kale and quinoa, and a spike in Tinder matches.
All right. Welcome, Scotty. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I am in shock. I'm excited. I can't believe it. I was going to open this with, the clip of what you've done and how you've helped expose this story. And now we have the breaking news that the Beagles are being released. How is that feeling for you?
I'm shocked too. I don't even know what to do. We have a local group. We're trying to meet up later today or maybe tomorrow to kind of celebrate. But I was just scrolling on Instagram and I saw Zoe's post and I was just in shock. And, it's been such a long time coming, especially for, Wayne, DXC, Dane for Dogs. It's just been such a long fight. And, I will say it's not completely over. We still need to shut them down, but this is a huge step.
This is a huge success, and we don't know all the details yet. They're coming in by the minute. Right before I was interviewing you, I was interviewing Trey from Animal Activism Collective. So we were just in complete shock as well. It just completely threw me off. I'm so excited. I'm also like, well, what does it mean? And there's all these questions, and I know we don't have the answers today, but I was thinking for you, it must be the biggest moment because I only got involved in this, 2 months ago. You have been involved in this for years. So how does it feel that your work is actually, the public is going to see the release of these Beagles after the expose that you have done personally?
It's just unreal. And, I hope this empowers so many activists because things can actually change. If you stick with it, things can change. And I'm just so thankful. And I'll be so excited to see all the Beagles in their new homes. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of nice videos coming out.
Well, I want to go through all of your history, but we've also I'm a huge fan of yours. Ella is a huge fan of yours. She's a regular co-host on this podcast. And, as soon as I found out the Beagles were free, we started texting. And then I told her that I was interviewing you and she said, oh, he's my hero. So I wanted to bring Ella on to get her reaction as well and to just co-host today's interview with you, Scotty, because we are so excited. And I don't even know what to say. I want to hear Ella's reaction. I want to hear your reaction. So let's bring Ella onto the stage as well. Welcome, Ella.
Hi, Allison. Hi, Scotty. How are you?
I don't know. How are we?
I know. When I first got a text about it, and I was out and about, and my whole body started shaking, and it was just this wave of emotion. Could this really be true? And then it's been this back and forth of we don't know details and how many and what is the deal and are they going to continue to operate and all these things. But I think what you said, Scotty, is okay, but let us take a breath, and every single dog that gets freed, every dog that gets saved, that's a life, right, that we've saved. So whether it's 1,000 or 1,500 or 2,000, I do think it's important to take a moment and celebrate this as a win. Lots of things about them getting bought and around the money, and there's all that, and they're getting out. Like
Right.
many are getting out. So I think pausing and celebrating, like you said, Scotty, is really important. And then, yeah, refocusing. And, you know, this isn't, we're not all in this just, you know, for these dogs. Not that it's just these dogs, but, you know, we're in it for these dogs. We're in it for all dogs. We're in it for all animals. So the fight will continue, and let's pause and celebrate.
I'm celebrating and I'm worried. I guess we'll get more information in the next few days. I want to roll a clip. So we were all at the last Ridglan rescue. Scotty, you've been involved for a while, but I want to play a clip so Food Heals Nation knows a little bit about who you are and what you've done.
A few years ago, I got a job at Ridglan Farms. I wanted to see if anything had been done since the 2017 investigation and the lack of response from law enforcement. I was inside for months watching what happens to these dogs. And what I saw is something no animal should ever have to endure. These are not well cared for research animals like Ridglan claims. They are innocent living beings confined, used, and discarded. And you know, Ridglan can say whatever they want, but I was there, I documented it, I testified about it, and the truth doesn't change simply because it's devastating to their company.
God, I have chills and I want to cry. Scotty, first of all, thank you for the work that you do. Take us back to how this started for you, because I only learned about this 2 months ago, but you have been on the ground for years. Take us through how that started.
Yeah, so I was pretty involved in the animal rights scene leading up to it, but I didn't really know much about Ridglan Farms. And, you know, in 2021, I, you know, had applied for the job and didn't really expect much out of it because it's such a long shot for that to actually work out. But then, you know, I got the interview and started working there and just tried to do the best I could while I was there. So.
Did you go in as a whistleblower, or did you go in to get a job?
I went in to see if anything had changed. So I wasn't just taking like a random job. But at the same time, I wanted to be as factual as I could with my findings, and I didn't want to overreach. And you know, I think that can be, you know, hard sometimes. So.
What did you find?
I'd say the cherry eye surgery is the worst that I saw personally. Also, the fighting and the paw injuries. A lot of dogs with paw injuries. A lot of fighting going on in the building I was in. And I can only really speak to the building I was in. There's 4 or 5 other buildings with dogs in them. And a lot of different things happen in those buildings, especially the research buildings. So, yeah, I can only really speak to what I saw there.
What was your job exactly?
I forget if it was like animal care technician or what the exact title was, but I basically cleaned the cages and the floors pretty much the whole day.
And you would see these beagles and you had a kind heart. So you would play with them and give them love. And you actually rescued a few, it sounds like, while you were there. Tell us about that.
Yeah. The frustration was building up towards the end, and I wanted to, you know, rescue some. And I was thankfully able to, it was kind of dicey, but it ended up working out, and I don't think they ever noticed. So.
And they didn't notice. Like when we were there, there's a lot of security. When you were there, they didn't notice you removing a few beagles from the property. How is that? What is the juxtaposition between them having no security and them? I know we were open rescue, but when we were there, it was like we were greeted as if we were the criminals while they are the criminals doing these abusive practices to the dogs. So can you talk about like taking the dogs out?
Yeah. So, I mean, just like the timeline of what the facility has been like is kind of crazy. There's a picture from like the 90s of like the open rolling hills, and there's like no fence or anything. And then after 2017, they put up the fence. And then after the March rescue, they freaking turned it into Fort Knox. So
yeah.
Yeah. But while I was working there, there wasn't any there might've been one security like overnight or something, but they weren't really like on guard at the time. So I was just looking through my building to see like how I could make this happen. And I actually have one of the buckets with me here. I can show the camera quick.
Yeah.
This is one of the buckets that carried out a beagle.
So you walk out with a bucket with the beagle in it so like no one would know?
Yeah, and I was just praying the whole time that they weren't going to start barking, because it was like, if they would have barked, someone probably would have noticed, but they were able to stay quiet, and I just drove away with 2 of them, and then I later went back and got another one in a bucket.
I mean,
did not know this.
it's so sweet. I'm like, Ella, how could you and I even be there without breaking them all out? Scotty, that must have been so hard for you, you know?
Yeah, I think it gave me some peace of mind leaving there. I did want to save all of them too. It's just like I had to kind of accept that that's what it was going to be for now.
Yeah, I'm curious just how you know, for somebody who cares deeply about these beings, like, and you were there for several months, right? Like, I mean, that the emotional toll that took on you, like, how did you deal with that? Like, from an emotional standpoint, that's so traumatic.
I was just so focused. It's kind of like a fight or flight thing. And I was just so dialed in on trying to be productive while I was there that I was kind of able to like put it off, I guess. And just, I was just so laser focused while I was there.
And had you been involved in animal rescue before? What was it that got you passionate? What was it that got you there?
Just in animal rights in general.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was actually working at a meat department at Hy-Vee when I was like 16, and my sister was vegetarian at the time, and she was sending me all these PETA videos, and
Yeah.
I was looking at them, and then finally one of them clicked for me. It was actually the Uggs in 30 seconds video, which has nothing to do with meat or anything, but I just kind of connected it to animals across the different industries, and I quit my job and then started going to like vigils and cubes of truth and stuff like that. And then I went out to the ALC in 2018, and that was like the big thing for me. It was just so cool to see people. That was like one of the big open rescues. And then I came back in 2019. So I was just really inspired by those actions, because before it was just kind of like holding up signs, and I kind of wanted to do more. So DXC really inspired me.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, so I don't know about you and Ella, I would like to hear your opinion too. Like, this was my first animal rescue. This was my first foray into activism. And I thought that I was putting my toe in the shallow end and testing the waters, but we were thrown into the deep end with all of the violence that we saw, with the reaction that we got. Have either of you, excuse me, ever been involved in an action like the Ridglan rescue that we just got back from?
Yeah, for me, absolutely not. And it was just something for, you know, when Christy, my friend and co-lead, you know, she's a Army veteran, and she said, she'd been to, you know, the war zones she'd been to weren't as violent as what we went through that day. So no, and this was kind of my re-entry into direct action. So it was, you know, I know it was a lot of people's first direct action experience, and yeah, there was no dipping the toe in the water on this one. That's for sure. What about you, Scotty?
Yeah, that's crazy to think it's some people's first action. Like it just diving in the deep end. But yeah, I've had some pretty crazy actions I've been a part of, but nothing really compares to this. I did not expect that level of brutality from the sheriff's department. But, you know, hopefully we get justice for those activists that were hurt, and justice for the dogs that are left there.
I think it looks like we're well on our way. Like I'm in shock because I don't know if we're allowed to celebrate, because there's like, I'm reading all these different things in between doing these podcast interviews that maybe some of the dogs are being rescued, because the first news report I read said 1,000. And then I was like, well, according to what I understand, there are around 2,000 beagles in the facility. So where are the rest of the 1,000? Then I'm hearing, oh, there might be 500 that they're not going to release. Well, what's happening to those beagles? Because we're not letting go. We're not giving up until every single beagle is free. Have you guys, I know I don't want to like perpetuate rumors, but what are your thoughts or feelings around what you've heard so far?
I think that they are going to be keeping a small number for the Type R license, but I am not sure exactly. So like January 2026, there were 2,101 dogs supposedly on site. So if they're selling 2,000, part of me thinks that maybe they're just going to take the money and run and just close down. That's what I hope. But yeah, they might keep a small number for Type R.
What is Type R?
That's their USDA license. So they're losing their Type A license, which is the ability to commercially breed and sell dogs for research. The Type R is to do it on site, basically, internally. So they will still have their Type R license after July 1st.
That sounds scary to me, right?
Yeah.
I don't get it if they, if they've been cited for felony level criminal animal abuse for the breeding of dogs for sale, but yet they can still continue to breed and test on them themselves. Like there's something very systemically wrong with the law and the enforcement of the law. In my eyes, that's just insane.
I agree.
And Scotty, I have some questions, and if you can't answer any, please know that I understand. But I guess I'm wondering, like, there's a video where you expose an audio of someone at Ridglan Farms, and he's essentially saying, look, we all have dogs at home, and we can't like look at the dogs in these way. And sometimes it's better off for a dog to be euthanized than to live this life of torture. And so for all of us who are, I'm a beagle owner like this. I'm on Lily. She's my second beagle. I'm a beagle mama. I don't even want to say owner because that's like a terrible word, when you think about it. But I'm a beagle mama. And when I hear that, it shocks me that someone could go into work and be a beagle father or mother and then see the beagles treated like this and be okay with it. What was it like inside having those relationships? And I guess you may not be able to answer this, but how could they justify that? And they did in your audio, but I just don't get it. What do you have any insight?
They just seem to really believe that it's for the betterment of the animals and for humanity. So I think some of them truly believe that, and it's almost brainwashing.
So they must be brainwashed to believe like abusing, but okay. So testing animals for human drugs is one thing, but there was flat out abuse where they are being, and I'm not saying I'm okay with the first one, by the way. I'm just saying the second thing is they were being criminally abused. So is that for the fun of it? Is that because they can't afford the anesthesia? Like, why do you think that they would perform these procedures without anesthesia? Like, what is the rationale behind that? Like, my brain cannot comprehend it.
I think they cut corners financially and just, whatever is most cost effective. And I think the perfect example of this is their toys. So they're required by law to have some type of enrichment. And in each of the cages, they had a PVC pipe in my building, and they would literally just get their heads stuck in them. And there would be feces around them. Like literally that was their toy, was a PVC pipe. Oh, so that kind of shows you like how Ridglan sees things. It's just about, they're probably thinking, oh, this is easy to clean. It lasts forever. And we'll check the box for having enrichment. So.
Wow. Yeah, I feel every time I watch any of the videos that you've done, I feel shocked and just, I don't understand the humanity that could work at a place such as this. But they obviously it's a family farm. They have a lot of employees. How was it? Did you get to be friends with anyone, or did you have to keep a distance because of this?
I talked with my trainer quite a bit. I wouldn't say we were like necessarily friends, but like the first couple weeks she was like pretty close by, like helping me out and stuff. I did have some conversations in the break room, but just like small talk. Yeah, I kind of tried to hide in the corner and not have conversations as much as I could. So, but yeah, some of the stuff they were saying in the break room was just kind of disheartening to hear.
Was this your first kind of undercover work?
Yeah, I had done investigations before, and I think that's why they reached out to me. But yeah, it was my first like undercover job, and might be my last. I don't know.
That was my next question. How you feel about potentially doing something like this again?
I mean, I think the other animal industries, I would be in the clear, but definitely not animal research. Yeah, that's out the window.
You're gonna be, banned from there.
Well, and now, you know, you're going to be in a Born on Death Row documentary. You're on the show. You may be too well known, which is a good thing for us and for our work. But yeah, a bad thing for you to go undercover if someone actually rescues you, if they're paying recognizes you, if they're paying any attention. But yeah, I think, you know, Ella and I were texting earlier, and I said I was interviewing you, and she said, "Oh, he's my hero." And I just want to shout you out because I couldn't do it. I could never do what you did.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And now that the Beagles are out, like there's no way to attribute a percent or anything like that, but this is because of the work that you did.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Like that is true, like selflessness to endure what you endured, you know, emotionally, and to go through that and do it all for the animals. Like, I'd like to say I could do anything for the animals, but like Allison said, I don't know. I don't think I could do that.
Well, I didn't know I could get tear gas for the animals until I did, because going in, y'all, I had no idea. I thought I saw the videos of Jennifer carrying a cute beagle to safety, and I was like, I can do that. I trained for that. So I was carrying my beagle Lily, and she's heavy, and it showed me like, girl, you need to work on your arms. So I was running up that hill. I was carrying my beagle. I was at the gym preparing for that. I didn't bring a gas mask. I didn't bring goggles. I didn't bring anything to prepare for tear gas, because this bitch has never been tear gas for anything in her life. Yeah, I've been to some protests, but like I've never been on the wrong side of the law. So to be treated like that, like if I had known before I knew what we'd gone through, and they had said, you're going to be tear gas, you're going to be met with violence, I would have been like, well, I'm not doing this. Now that I've been through it, of course, I would do it again in a heartbeat. But not knowing was probably the best part about it. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, you don't know how far you'll go until you're in the moment. And that's what happened to me. That's probably what happened to you, Scotty. It's just like, well, I'm in it and I can't give up now. That's how I felt when we were being tear gassed, and I was like choking and crying and just like, I can't go back in. But then I'd see my team, and I'd see, you know, we had these incredible teams that we had bonded with, and I'd be like, well, if they can do it, I can do it. So let's go, you know? And so but you did this alone, Scotty. Who had your back during this time?
I was talking with a couple different people and was working with an organization. So I did have support, and I don't think I could have done it completely alone. So like usually like every day I would be after work, I would call somebody and, you know, talk to them. So yeah, I definitely wasn't alone.
Yeah, my mental health, it would have been really hard for me. I know, Ella, you as well. And Ella, you've done actions before, but nothing like this. What was your expectation versus your reality? I know we talked about this on the other show, but we've had more time pass now. Like, how are you processing everything that happened?
Yeah, I know a lot of people like are really feeling the need to continue to process and like talk about the trauma and stuff. I'm kind of one of those people that, I don't know, I don't feel like I have to do that. I think my therapy is continuing to do the work. And that's kind of enough for me. So I dove right in, like, you know, from that Saturday night I've just been nonstop on the back end. Like, what can we do? What can we do? We will do this. We are going to get this. That we didn't get the outcome we wanted that day, but we will get the outcome if we all stick together and we keep fighting. And the amount of people, like meeting people like you, Scotty, and like the countless people I got to meet, and to be surrounded by people who just care so deeply, not only care, but are willing to put their lives on their line, their freedom on the line, all for the animals. Like, there's just something so energizing about that I feel more energized now, even though I'm still pretty exhausted from, the last weeks, because it's been like, okay, we've got a timeline here. Clock is ticking. July 1st is coming. These dogs are going to be euthanized. They're going to be sold. They're going to, we've got to get them free. So it's been just this push. So it'll be interesting when we hear the news tomorrow, like, will I give myself a little break, or will it be like, okay, now we've got, the Ridglan dogs out, but hey, we've got MBR, like with 18,000 or more beagles that we've got to tackle next. Like, we're going to be doing this till, I know I'm going to be doing this till the day I die. So it's like the journey is never ending. We get to celebrate. We get to experience all the things. We get to meet so many amazing people in the process. And this is just, what I feel like I'm here for. So let's just keep going. That's kind of how I feel about it.
I think it's your life's mission, Ella. What about you, Scotty? Do you feel like this is like your life's work, your life's mission?
Yeah, I definitely want to bring light to the suffering of other animals, like farmed animals as well. I feel like this is the perfect like stepping stone towards that. Like, if we can get all these non-vegans, non-activists to get behind us and support this, I think it's not that much different if you show them a chicken or a pig in the same situation. So I do want to continue to fight for all animals, and that definitely will be probably a lifetime battle. So
yeah, I loved about this rescue. Everyone was from every age, every culture, vegan, non-vegan, just there to rescue animals, left, right, and center. Like, it was nonpartisan. It was just a collection of people who cared about the dogs. And then, once they start thinking about the dogs, maybe we can help them start thinking about the pigs. Maybe we can help them start thinking about the cows and the chickens and the fish, and the list goes on, and the fur. So I think no matter what, it was a success. We walked away feeling like, hey, at least we raised public awareness. And I did say and believe this will lead to systemic change. And this might be day one of that, because now our actions, and, starting with Scotty's, and then the remaining two actions, I believe, led by Wayne, have now changed the court of public opinion, and that public pressure has the potential to change things. We're seeing it with Ridglan, who hates us, who does not like Wayne. I'll just say that. Does not like us. They probably don't like you, Scotty. I don't know what your relationship is with them.
probably not.
The night before our action, something happened where one of the daughters said to you, "Lives will be lost." That shakes me to my core. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I was just on the side of the road. I believe I was on public property, and I wasn't like by Ridglan or like I wasn't close to Ridglan. And
was it after our training that I met you at the training?
So it was the action was Saturday, right?
The action was Saturday. On Friday, we had a breach team training, a pink team training. Was it that? It was that night, I think.
It was so Friday morning is when
Okay.
this happened. I was pulled over on the side of the road. She pulled up behind me, and
how did did she know who you were?
I don't know, honestly. I was lying at the moment. I was like, I'm not an activist or anything. Like, I just heard about this on social media. I was like, do you know what's happening at Ridglan? And she was like, well, are you a vegan? I was like, no, I just care about dogs. And then Jerry came behind her. Jerry Blizzard, the guy with the truck from the March action. And he's
the one that was trying to run rescuers over.
Yeah. And
Okay.
he slashed people's tires too.
Wow.
But yeah, he was like, get the hell out of here. And then I drove away as fast as I could. He followed me for like a mile or two. But yeah, she had said to me, she was like, just to fill you in, since I was like saying I don't know anything about this, she was like, just to fill you in, lives will likely be lost this weekend, and it's best that you stay away.
Wow.
So, yeah. And we were already worried about their private security. We saw these guys in masks that looked like ICE agents, and we didn't know how they were going to respond. So her saying that scared me a little bit, but we definitely couldn't back down.
No, I'm so glad we didn't. And I think even you sharing that, because, a bunch of us did hear that. Maybe it was that night or the next day. I can't remember. But I think it lit a fire under us rather than scared us. Yeah, it's scary to hear that, of course. Don't get me wrong. But the fear leads to fire, because we were like, oh, watch us. Like, we were on a mission. We didn't get every beagle out that day, but we were on a mission. And had there not been armed security, looking scary AF, pushing grandmas to the ground, tear gassing people, it was the most insane violence I've ever seen in my lifetime. That wasn't the only violence I've ever seen has been on TV. So that was the only violence I've ever experienced in my lifetime personally. But that lit us on fire. So thank you to that woman for saying that to you, Scotty, because we were like, bring it. You know what I mean? And I'm a peaceful, nonviolent person, but I was like, come on, you can't say that. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, it was a crazy weekend.
Yeah, from start to finish, that's for sure.
So we're going to find out more in the next few days, as to what this really means. Scotty, what would you say if they do say some of the beagles are getting out, some of them we're keeping? Like, what would we do next?
So I'm working on compiling a list. I've been really busy with school, but I'm trying to get like the best list I can together, maybe like top 5 or top 10 companies that pay Ridglan to do on-site research. So under the Type R license, I think PETA's working on the Type A right now, but that might not be relevant with the dogs getting rescued. I don't know if there will be any dogs left to be sold necessarily after this this rescue. So I think just focusing on the on-site research and just trying to completely shut them down. I think going one by one after these companies, asking to break ties with them.
I have a question about one of the research studies they do. I know they did one with Merck. Is that one past the one with the rabies?
So that is one of the companies that I've been looking at that does do on-site research at Ridglan for sure. I don't have the most up-to-date information, which is a little frustrating, but I can make a pretty good guess on like the top 5. So Elanco is another one. Probably top 3 is Elanco.
And is there any reason other than following the money to test on an animal in 2026? My understanding is that there absolutely is not.
Yeah, there's so much technology now. There's really no excuse to test on any animal. And most of the time we know this, but like most of the time it's not effective. If it's for a human study, it's not even going to be useful. So
Right. They can cultivate human tissue in a lab, and they can test things on a non-living human tissue, just like we're going to have very soon cultivated meat, which is meat grown in a lab without abusing an animal. And so all of the meat eaters who are like, I will eat meat for life, it's good for my health, all that stuff. Great, you can have it for life. It's made in a lab and it's cultivated from the cells of the animal. You want to test rabies vaccine? Great. Test it on the cultivated cells of a dog. Go for it. But do not touch our precious beagles. Do not even touch our precious cows, pigs, chickens. I know I'm preaching to the choir right now to you guys because that's who we are. But I really do think that this is going to create systemic change that will then lead to this even the government seems to be going in the right direction at this time. This is not left or right, not political, but like they are saying like, okay, you can't test on animals anymore. I think the law and the government is starting to be on our side. Certainly the court of public opinion is. Wayne talks about the right to rescue. The right to rescue is when, okay, there's a dog in a car, there's a baby in a car, there's someone's in imminent danger, the house is on fire. You can break the window, right, to get the person or the animal out. That is the right to rescue that we have based on this, law. How did you, Scotty, get involved with Wayne? Wayne is the one that first introduced me, and I believe you too, Ella, to this cause. But how did you and Wayne connect, and how did you guys get involved together? Because I've never seen an action like this in activism before.
Yeah. So like I said, the 2018 ALC was just eye-opening for me. And then coming back in 2019 and seeing another mass action, I think that was the Reichardt one. If you haven't seen the Reichardt rescue, I recommend looking that up on YouTube. There's actually been some parodies of it on national television because it was so popular. But
okay.
Yeah, I was just on the green team for those actions. I was like 17 or 18 at the time. I didn't really want to get arrested yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I moved out to Berkeley and got to know Wayne a little bit more. And I'm just so thankful with all the opportunities I've gotten with activism, like different investigations. I helped with the VSD in Iowa, that expose. I've just been given so many opportunities, and I just want to keep doing the most I can for the animals. But Wayne is amazing, and I just hope he doesn't actually get locked up one of these times. So
well, they're facing what, 12 years?
I think so, yeah.
So were you able to see the hearing today at all, Scotty? I haven't seen the recording yet.
No, it's just been chaos in the chats. I haven't been able to keep up with anything.
I don't know if they've posted the recording because for some reason they wouldn't let the Wayne's hearing today, initial hearing, get live streamed from the courthouse. So we're just waiting to see that.
So Wayne said his what is it called? It's not sentence, but was worse than child abusers and murderers, where he's not allowed to talk to anyone else who was arrested that day, who are all obviously part of this action. What were the other things that really separated him from a regular arrest?
I forget the post, but there was 5 stipulations with the deal. Basically, Wayne and Aditya are banned from Dane County, just in general. I think everyone's banned from Blue Mounds, and they can't contact each other. Those 5 people can't contact each other. And I know they think it's going to slow us down, but it's not. It's just sad that those people can't talk to each other. So.
Yeah, so that's why they couldn't be on our Zoom calls because of that. But it's silly because we have so much of a huge group of people who are in on this together, who are not going to give up. And so even if they can't speak, the communication is still going to happen. That's not going to stop us. It seems silly. So he and a few others are facing up to 12 years in prison. And Wayne has served the longest of any, animal activist ever arrested. And so he served the longest, and he's still not giving up. So it surprises me that they think these threats of jail time are going to deter us, because what happens is if you find out that Zoe or Wayne or someone like that who is rescuing animals from a life of torture and abuse is going to be in jail, then the court of a public opinion is on the side of let the rescuers do their thing, let them save the animals. So the law is not winning in the court of a public opinion. And I think what we've done here is, and all credit to you, Scotty, for starting this, all credit to Wayne and the organizations. But what we've done is we've started something that has never been this public before. I have people reaching out to me that I haven't talked to since, from high school, being like, oh my God, what can I do? Being shocked that this is going on. So I'm like, I can't wait to tell you about, animal agriculture and factory farming. Wait till we get there. But they're just shocked by the fact that they had no idea this was going on. So I think what's great is that we are changing hearts and minds, and the court of public opinion is on our side, which will lead to the systemic change. Not only the release of these beagles, but the release of what other animals do we need to release? Ella, you mentioned one. Scotty, tell me what's next? What else do we need to do?
I think like Ella was saying, I think MBR, I actually spoke with a couple of the people from Camp Beagle throughout this whole process, and they're just such cool people, and I would love to go out there for like a month or something and just protest with them.
In the UK.
But, yeah, I think they're next in line. And there is also, I think it's the same company in New York, right? Mm-hmm. That's also Marshall. So yeah, probably New York and UK are the next focus for animal research.
So do we know how many animals there are there?
It's a lot. And from what I have heard, there's a lot of different species of animals too. It's not just beagles. Pretty much every animal that gets tested on is probably there.
Monkeys, kitties, what are we thinking?
Yeah, I don't want to say exactly, but
we don't know. Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely an evil place. So
I also want to just reiterate what you guys had said earlier, is that what a beautiful place this is to bring people together and get people's toe in the water when it comes to just fighting for animals in general. I know a lot of that. It kind of surprised me. Sometimes I forgot at times that so many of the people that came to this rescue were not vegan. I forgot because it just kind of, I hadn't really been to any animal actions that were like kind of non-vegan. And then it was just so cool as we moved through the weekend and then following the event to see like one of my teammates, Josh, who was like, oh, I'm not vegan and I was eating, as humane meat as possible. And he's like, but now I haven't eaten meat in 4 days and I'm on my way and I'm diabetic and I don't know how to do this. But I'm going to count on you for help. And he's like so gung ho. And now there's like a whole group a whole group chat with 50 people that are like ready to transition to veganism. And just, the support I was able to pull in on my own social media, talking about dogs and all these people. So, my thought process is, okay, well, how can we now we've just attracted all these people who care about animals. They care about dogs specifically, but it means they care about animals. So how can we gently, start to help them expand their circle of compassion, because they're already connected to compassion. Now we just start expanding that circle. And how do we do that in a gentle and welcoming way with messaging that really helps them feel welcome and included and like they want to now expand that circle of compassion? Because, changing how we eat, like people are very attached to how they eat, right? And it's very much a thought of, this is normal, natural, and necessary how I eat, and eating animal products and all that. So, it's a much tougher kind of sell. But now that we're all in this together, it just brings me so much hope, for helping to grow veganism, and whether we call it vegan or not, it doesn't matter. But expanding that circle of compassion and helping people align all their actions with compassion for all beings. So it really does bring me a lot of hope. And this is also one of the reasons I in my other activism, it wasn't my focus, because I'm like, okay, well, the percentage of animals being tested on in laboratories is so small compared to, how many animals are used for factory farming and the billions of animals that suffer. And so I want to focus on the billions. But this is so strategic. Every life is a life saved. And this is a way to get everybody on board. And then we can start to tackle the other issues as well.
Right. And for a while, I always saw fur and foie gras as like the low-hanging fruit. But this is almost like below that. Like in terms of public support, I think so many people can get behind it. And my personal opinion is, like, for just the wider animal rights fight, I think it's good to include non-vegans. And I think transitioning people to vegan, if they're interested, is great. But like, if we want to have these like huge marches, like I went to the big ICE protest a couple months ago in Minneapolis, there was like 20,000 people in the streets. And I think to get that kind of like public support, I think we do need to like take whoever is interested in fighting, even if they don't necessarily want to like change their lifestyle. So
Agreed.
Absolutely agreed. I think that the more inclusive we can be, the more effective that we can be. And in my experience at Ridgeland, I was with all different age groups. I was with conservatives and Democrats. I was with vegans and non-vegans. And I loved every single effing person because we were all there to be on the right side of the history when it comes to these dogs. And the rest, guess what? I can still get along if you have a different opinion than me. I can still get along if we don't eat the same. Because I'm a normal fucking person who doesn't decide to be divided by, oh, you're vegan, you're non-vegan. Oh, you're left, you're right. No, I'm not going to let that define me. I'm not going to let it divide me from my potential friends that we could be on a mission to help people, animals, the planet, whatever it might be. So I'm with you guys. Last question, Scotty. I want to know, like, what is it about beagles? I know as a beagle mama to Lily, and she's my second beagle, I had Charlotte before that, how adaptable and sweet they are. But what have you learned about the courage that these beagles have? Because it's like you abuse them and then they forgive you. Like, talk to me a little bit about your experience with the beagles and what it was like to, bring them to freedom.
yeah, it's really sad to think about, but I even experienced it with dogs there where they just still had this life in them and they still had this love. Like when I was playing with them, they're still so kind and sweet. And I think it's beautiful to see these rescue videos. I think the Dodo just posted one the other day that was just so sweet. Like it's really sad at first. They were like shaking and they couldn't even really interact much with the rescuer, but then they grew trust back. And I think beagles are just like amazing dogs. And I thankfully got to spend a lot of time with those 3 that I had rescued. And yeah, I just loved every second of it. So
Yeah, they really are the best. I know all dogs are the best, but beagles for me hold a special place in my heart. And I love a mutt too. Don't get me wrong. I love every breed. I think what breaks my heart is the fact that they test on the beagles because they are so docile, forgiving, and loving. And I know a lot of dogs are, but a beagle will never bite. They'll never fight back. They don't have it in them. Like you can't make them a fighting dog. They just don't have it. And so that's why it's heartbreaking that they specifically breed them for this. But if anyone, now we're going to need lots of homes for some beagles. So if anyone's like, oh, should I adopt a dog? Let me tell you, beagles are the best. They will learn so fast. They can learn tricks. They are great with children. They are great with everyone. They're so sweet. They will like be your companion, your best friend. I just want everyone to know in case you're like, oh, maybe I should adopt a beagle from Ridglan Farms. Yes, you should.
and I do want to say, I'm sure you know this, but like the trauma is another level to consider. So I think a lot of people are like really wanting to rescue, and I think a lot of them would make great caretakers, but it's just important to remember that there are a lot of scars that come with it, and just to make sure that it's like you're at a good point in your life where you can really give them the care they need.
Yeah, don't leave them home all day while you go to work. It's best for, if you have family or you work from home or you have a big household so that they can, be surrounded by love and care and attention and forgiveness at all times because, every time you adopt a dog, there are challenges, right? And they have to learn and get to know you and get to trust you, and you have to trust each other. And that's a process no matter what. So you just need that extra time and care for these sweet animals. Well, Scotty and Ella, thank you so much for joining me today. I want to ask, where can everyone follow your work? And you're on a documentary that hasn't come out yet, Born on Death Row. I'd love to hear anything like that we can continue to follow you with, your Instagram, all that good stuff. And Ella will do you as well. Food Heals Nation knows you, so we'll do Scotty first.
We don't need to do me.
Okay, yeah. So I'm super excited to see the Born on Death Row documentary come out. I'm not sure. I think it's going to be like within the next year for sure. But you can follow BODRDOC on Instagram. And then my username is Scotty_Gilby. So I'm going to try to keep posting about Ridglan stuff. I don't want to keep it. I feel like I've been posting some depressing stuff, and I want to keep it cheerful right now. So I'm probably going to hold off for a bit.
Well, now we can post some good news. I haven't even had a chance to. I don't know if you guys have, because it happened right before I found out about this right before my interview with Trey from Animal Activism Collective. Then I had like a 10-minute break, and then I got in with you. So like I haven't posted. I don't even know if there's new news, but like I'm so excited for having a positive feed for the rest of the night, because I feel like it's been a lot of doom and gloom. And I've been participating in it because I am feeling so sad that we didn't rescue the Beagles when we went there in person. So I'm excited to celebrate and see some celebratory social media tonight for once, at least. Ella, what about you? Where can everyone find you?
Yeah, you guys know me. I'm at Sexy Fit Vegan on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok and Facebook, all the things.
All the things. Well, I appreciate both of your dedication to this work, veganism, activism, and just being a light in this world for the animals and, for our health as well. Because that's why I started this show. Food Heals was about the health. And of course, the animals became a huge part of that as a plant-based person. And then now that I'm really, let's say, leaning into the activism side, you're probably going to hear a lot more about it from people like myself, Scotty, and Ella on the show. Food Heals. Well, thank you guys again so much for being here. See you guys next time.
Thank you.
Side effects of this podcast may include increased health and vitality, thoughts of living longer, developing a more positive outlook on life. In rare cases, people have experienced a strong desire to actually start using their $39.99 a month gym membership. If you experience any of these symptoms, Snapchat your trainer immediately.